Tell me, when did you come here?
Waves occur all around us. Most common, perhaps, are gravity waves in water and compressibility waves in air.
So you're going to make a videotape. Well, no big deal, really.
Is to examine some of the production techniques which will help you produce better instructional programs. Viewer interest is a prerequisite to content retention.
We can now begin to deal with the 12 basic strokes.
What'll I do? I can't make it work.
It is simplicity itself, or so it seems. But bricklaying is simple only to the eye. To the man who builds with brick, there are skills to be developed and tools to be mastered, just as in any craft.
The information source selects the desired message out of a set of possible messages. The transmitter changes the message into the signal, which is sent over the communications channel to the receiver, where it is decoded back into the message and delivered to the destination.
Stroke number 1 is begun by gliding with increasing pressure to the lower right. The brush is lifted after a slight pause.
The message cell contained 1 bit or unit of information.
Research has shown that we spend about 50% of our time listening, but that we really hear only about 50% of this.
The response to the threat of television is not to eliminate television, but to prepare people to respond to it with independent critical judgment.
I have no control over the mechanical system.
To be effective, good speech must communicate an idea or a mood to the audience. Seeing and hearing together can be more convincing than just hearing.
Number 2 begins with pressure at the lower left, diminishing as it moves to the upper right.
There are many different theories and much disagreement about how we perceive and thereby learn about the world around us.
In the literature, this is called subliminal psychodynamic activation. And in general, these wishes and drives in the unconscious have been there since childhood, and they're universally good.
The aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation. It's fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, and cheat, steal, deceive, rape, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest?
You're asking whether an individual can be, under hypnosis, influenced, coerced, persuaded, shaped to perform an antisocial act, or a destructive act, or an act of violence. My answer would be yes.
Captain Marco, will you be good enough to lend Raymond your pistol, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Ben.
Sure, kid.
Shoot Bobby, Raymond. Through the forehead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's nothing to talk about.
Why not?
I'm dead.
Stroke number 3 is started with pressure which lessens as the brush moves in a sweeping curve to the lower left.
Top Gun achieved its mission. We went back and we were looking at a 13-to-1 kill ratio during the last 2 years of the conflict.
The Soviet Union and its colonial satellites are maintaining armed forces of great size and strength in both Europe and Asia. Their vast armies pose a constant threat to world peace.
The reality world of any individual is highly personal. It is his, and his alone.
For the harsh facts of the matter are that our relative military strength has not increased as fast as the Russians in ground forces, submarines, and missiles.
The pre-operational stage, where thinking is rigid and irreversible.
We're outnumbered in our Navy, surface ships, and submarines 2-to-1.
I don't remember too much what it actually is like being psychotic.
We're outgunned in artillery 3-to-1. We're outmanned in tanks 4-to-1. They have more missiles, bigger missiles, more powerful missiles than we have. We are no longer negotiating from strength.
And once you're scared, of course, that further disables you because your thinking process is not as clear.
Stroke number 4 is an elongated form of number 3.
To perceive is to make a kind of prediction, to relate the present event or object of awareness to something that may happen next or could happen in the future.
Where you say on page 16 that we have permitted our naval capability to deteriorate, and now we have to restore it. To contrast that with Admiral Hayward's assessment of just a few weeks ago, and I'm quoting now from the Navy posture hearing, that we have a far better Navy today than we did 3 years ago.
We probably do have a better Navy than we had a couple of years ago, but what
I'm on a mind control drug, I should feel.
Your acknowledgement that we have a relatively better Navy than we did a few years ago, it seems to me, is so sharply different in tone from your statement, which says that we've permitted our naval capability to deteriorate.
Why are you questioning me like that? You're making me nervous.
We have permitted our naval ability to deteriorate. At the same time, we may be a little better than we were a few years ago. We've not deteriorated as much as we might have.
He shows a fairly typical picture in a moderately retarded, confused, schizophrenic, under medications.
In number 5, the brush moves to the right, pressure decreasing to near midpoint, increasing again to the pause and the brush lifted.
When a sample is placed in the path of high-energy particles, it becomes radioactive. Biological experiments have been carried out to study the effect of radiation on living tissue. The nuclear age had its beginnings at the end of the 19th century, when it was discovered that certain minerals gave off powerful radiations.
The invisible X-rays make visible substances that light cannot penetrate, including the human body.
Stroke 6 is a cursive variant. Even pressure is exerted from the start to the curve, letting up rapidly in shaping the point.
The electron microscope reveals areas only 1/250 of an inch, magnifying up to 200,000 times cell nuclei which hold the secrets of life.
Within the nucleus, long molecules of DNA encode all the information that directs the operation of the cell.
It's too hard for the audience to sort out, relate, understand, and remember this mass of facts and figures thrown at them in a speech of this type.
Well, I think that's a ridiculous view. And the reason I think it's ridiculous is that it betrays a lack of understanding of what rationality is.
It is the responsibility of selecting and relating parts that makes possible a whole which itself has unity.
We also know that the same words, events, or pictures can lead to perceptions that differ greatly from individual to individual.
Note, however, that this is a minimal selection and not the full complement of basic elements.
But the robot will not be able to interpret what it sees. It will not understand the meaning